On this episode, we talk about remembering more of everything and some other stuff. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Finish Friday, the show where we help more creative people change more lives. I'm your host, Todd B. from Tennessee. And before we go any further, I want you guys to know that today is the last day to enter the big book giveaway. Make sure you check that link down there, the first line in the description. It'll tell you how to enter to win over $250 worth in books. Basically, I want to stuff somebody's stocking for Christmas with all kinds of books that have meant something to me. So make sure before you do anything else, you're registered for that down there. Second of all, if you guys haven't seen my post from this week, 9 questions to ask when it all goes wrong, it's getting some real love. And I think it's because this is a pretty transparent piece for me. So check that out and let me know what you think. I think this piece is getting some love because it's just a light on what to do when things don't go as well, as opposed to just this sunshine vision of everything going right. So that's all for me in my life. And with that, let's get into today's topic. I think that any of us who have been in the writing community for any amount of time have heard the phrase, writers write every day. And that kind of thing is thrown around so much that it's almost cliche, but I think that it is true. In order to be the top level artist, you have to create stuff every day. But I want to take a deeper look under the hood this week and talk about why that is true. Now, we all know about the learning curve, but what most of us don't know is that the same guy who invented that also invented the forgetting curve. Hermann Ebbinghaus in the late 1800s created this thing, and he learned that basically what happens is within an hour of us learning new information, stuff falls out of our heads. And if we don't reinforce that within 24 hours, most of what we learn is gone. And we wonder why college is so hard, right? But what he found is that whenever you reinforce that information over time, you're able to keep more and more of it up to a point where you can retain most of the information without having to review it in the future. And you're looking at me right now and you're going, Todd, that'd be great if I was in college, but I don't have tests anymore. I don't have pop quizzes anymore. Well, what we forget is that there are different kinds of memory. And so when you create every day, your body, your mind, your soul is remembering how to create, and creativity is nothing more than connecting different dots in your mind. And so every day you show up to do that, you get a little bit better at that and you remember how to do it a little bit better. So this week I want to encourage you, get in that process every day and it becomes a lot easier to perform at a big level. Okay, so I saw something this week on a U-Haul truck, and I have to show you guys this really quickly because it kind of freaked me out. I'm looking at this U-Haul truck and seeing a big bird, and I look a little closer to see the bird has a tongue. And that's just not something like, do birds really have tongues? I don't, to see it like that really freaked me out. So shout out to U-Haul, I guess, for reminding me that birds have tongues, as disturbing as that might be. This week's question of the week comes from Kayla, and Kayla asks, writing a long form book can be daunting, especially for writers who generally produce content that's around 2,000 words. Do you use any tools or tactics to tackle the beast of a book? Kayla, that's an awesome question. And I have to tell you this story before I get into the answer about when I was writing my first book, The Creative's Curse, and getting into that. I thought that it was going to be just like a blog post, but just longer, like take more time in the process. But it's more like writing a blog post if you could only write 1 sentence a day for a whole year. And in between that time, like, you change as a person, you see different things in the world, you have new experiences, and you want to stuff all this stuff in the new book, but you just can't. And that's why it's hard to keep the same consistent voice throughout the process. And so the only 2 things that I would tell you, a couple pieces of advice here on putting together a long book. And the first one is what we just talked about. Write every day, because when you're in it every single day, it is only going to take you 2 or 3 months to really put together a legitimate book if you're in it every day. And that way you're remembering what you wrote the day before, you're remembering where you want to go, and you're seeing things in the world that match what you're trying to create. And the second piece of advice that I would say is make sure you have a topic that's big enough to legitimize a book. Like, my least favorite thing in the world is when I get a book that's supposed to be the big hit and chapter one is amazing, and then the rest of the chapters are just things that the editor made the author stuff in there to kind of fill the pages so they could sell a lot of copies. That's my least favorite thing. So if I'm sitting down tomorrow to write a new book, the first thing I'm doing is making sure I can commit to it every day, and then I'm making sure that there's enough material there to not be boring. This week's Artist Spotlight goes on someone in the Todd Bryson community, and I want to shine it on Erica Lee. And Erica has this business where she makes bow ties from old clothes, and I'll of course flash some of that stuff up on there. And it's just incredible work. She found me in the Facebook group, kind of put something in the post that said what she did, and I was immediately taken by the business. And I want to tell you why. It's not because this is a brand new thing, but it's because she's combining elements that already existed into a new and unique thing that fits what she does. Bow ties are not new. Style is not new. Clothes are not new. But what she's done is combined all of these things to make something that really is new. So Erica, much love. Way to show people how it's done. And I really want to applaud you for bringing together the best of art and business. That does it for episode 48. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before you get out of here, make sure you answer the Ask the Audience for this week, which is, what is your favorite holiday tradition? I'm looking for one holiday tradition you cannot live without. Make sure to drop that in the comments down below. I can't wait to see what you guys are excited about this season. Before you go, don't forget to thumbs up the show if you liked it. Once more, I'm Todd B from Tennessee, and I will talk with you next week.